This is The Minimum Commitment, film theory in small doses. Some people spend their lives believing freedom can be earned by work, by discipline and sacrifice. A belief that time can be bought back in small increments. They imagine an existence when the system will stop owning every waking moment. I'm Don Lawler, film scholar, sound obsessive, and someone interested in the precise instant a person realizes the system was never built to let them go. Let's get into it. Michael Mann's Thief isn't a romance of crime. It isn't a glamorous outlaw movie. It is a study of work, how labor shapes a life, and how systems reshape the worker. Frank, played by James Caan, is a thief by trade. Michael Mann films him as a tradesman. There are tools, tables, timing, and hands trained to precision. Watch the film and you feel the procedure before you feel the plot. In Thief, we watch labor in real time. Drills bite into metal, sparks scatter into dark, pressure builds under steel. These scenes are not cinematic spectacle in the old Hollywood sense. They are documentary insistence. The camera treats safecracking like a shift at the factory. The work looks exhausting, precise, and bodily. And because the camera insists on process, work becomes Frank's measure of himself. He times his life by efficiency. He judges himself by output. In that tense loop, process becomes identity. What Frank is chasing is ordinary. A house, a family, control over his hours. His dream is a collage of purchasable things, images clipped from magazines and assembled into a future. That collage is crucial. It shows how even hope can be commodified. Freedom as property. Happiness as an object you can buy if you earn enough. The film makes clear that Frank's logic is capitalist logic in miniature. Buy time, buy calm, own your life. But here is the contradiction Thief exposes. Performing your labor well does not mean you control the system that surrounds the work. Frank believes independence comes from skill and self-reliance. The film shows that independence can be an illusion inside a larger economy. Banks, bosses, organized crime, institutions continually reabsorb him. His expertise raises his value, and that rise reduces his freedom. The more useful he becomes, the more the system depends on him, and the more it constrains his movement. Leo, played by Robert Prosky, embodies that institutional logic. At first, Leo appears to offer partnership, resources, scale, and a path to the life Frank imagines. But Leo does not see Frank as a man. He sees productivity and profit. Their relationship mirrors employer and employee. Frank performs the work. Leo controls the structure, and the structure decides how much autonomy is permitted. When Frank tries to step out, the machinery tightens. Mann doesn't just film Frank's work, he films the world that makes the work legible. Chicago, in Thief, is built from the same materials as the labor inside it. The city doesn't simply contain Frank's life, it organizes it. Mann's Chicago is not backdrop, it's the operating system. Steel bridges, wet pavement reflecting neon, pipes and concrete. Frames full of infrastructure that dwarf human bodies. The color and sound design underline the point. Cold blues, harsh lights, the hum of traffic. The city registers as economic machinery, and Frank begins to look less like an agent than a component. Skilled, necessary, replaceable. So the city is not just a setting here. It becomes the logic Frank lives inside, and that logic follows him into the way he imagines a future. The scene that most quietly breaks that hope is the collage Frank carries. It's ordinary and almost painfully vulnerable, because it shows how he has taught himself to imagine freedom as a set of pictures, a private life he imagines, assembled from the same culture that sells him the dream in the first place. His longing has been manufactured. Once Frank realizes the structure will not release him, once he sees his usefulness as confinement, his response is not escape, but rupture. The final act reads less like revenge than rejection. He destroys property, relationships, the dream itself. Mann films that destruction with the same cool, procedural eye he used for the work. Precise, inevitable, and almost clinical. In the end, the only control Frank really has is the power to destroy what he once believed would save him. The film's formal choices carry this Marxist reading without heavy-handed theory. Mann's long, methodical takes of working, the foregrounding of mechanical noise, the refusal of glamour, these are not stylistic quirks. They are arguments. By making labor the spectacle, Thief turns attention away from wealth and status to the labor that produces them. And in doing so, it shows how labor is bound up in systems that profit from keeping workers dependent. So, Thief is, in a sense, a paradox about ownership as a fantasy that labor cannot fully purchase. Frank's professionalism makes him legible and valuable to others, but legibility is not liberty. The film asks a blunt question. When your skill is the thing that makes you useful to a system, does that skill ever become a place of your freedom? Or is it what keeps you confined? Frank's answer is devastating. The expertise that defines him becomes his prison, and the final freedom left to him is the freedom to wreck the dream. That's your thought for the day. Minimum commitment, maximum meaning. See you next time. The Minimum Commitment is produced, recorded, and edited by Don Lawler. Music by Out of Flux.